It had been 5 years since my divorce, and at 43, I had grown used to solitude. My home was quiet most nights, the silence wrapping around me like a familiar, if lonely, blanket. I'd learned to find comfort in the routine, cooking my own meals, reading in the evenings, and drifting off to sleep alone. That Tuesday night, however, broke the pattern. I had just finished work and was preparing for bed when a faint knock echoed from the front door. At first, I thought it was the wind, or maybe the delivery that sometimes came late. But the knock came again, more deliberate, hesitant. "Mom." A voice called softly from the darkness that it was my daughter, Sophie. She had grown up so fast. I could hardly believe she was 20 now. Her face appeared in the doorway, tired and anxious. "I couldn't sleep," she admitted, her voice low. I gestured for her to come in. "Come on, you can sit here." I patted the empty spot on the sofa. She hesitated for a moment, then slouched down beside me, pulling a blanket around her shoulders. The living room was warm from the evening's heater, but a chill ran down my spine, not from the temperature, but from the unspoken tension between us. Sophie leaned slightly toward me, and for a moment, the exhaustion of the day melted away. Her eyes looked different tonight, wide, searching, carrying a vulnerability I hadn't noticed in years. "I've just been feeling alone," she whispered. Her words trembled, and I felt a pang in my chest. My instincts urged me to comfort her, to wrap an arm around her and tell her everything would be okay. And I did. I reached out, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. She leaned into me, resting her head briefly against my arm. It was a simple gesture, familiar from her childhood, yet tonight it struck me differently. Her closeness was comforting, but also a reminder that she was no longer a child. She had grown into a young woman, her presence commanding in a way I hadn't noticed before. For a while we sat there in silence. The quiet was heavy but not oppressive, more like a pause between breaths. "Thanks, Mom," she said finally, her voice softer, almost fragile. I nodded, not knowing what to say, only feeling the weight of her trust. The next few days carried the same strange tension. Sophie sought out more time with me, not for conversation, but simply to be near me. We cooked together, watched movies, and shared meals. There was a new understanding in the way we interacted. She confided small worries about school and work, and I listened, offering guidance without judgment. Each shared moment strengthened our bond, highlighting how much we had missed while navigating our separate lives. One evening, we walked through the quiet streets of our neighborhood, the autumn air crisp against our cheeks. Sophie spoke of her future, her aspirations, and the weight of expectations from her new job. I offered advice where I could, but mostly I listened. Her openness reminded me that the foundation of trust we built over the years was strong enough to support even the most vulnerable moments. Later, sitting at the kitchen table sharing pancakes, we laughed softly over small stories from her childhood. She was more aware now, her gaze lingering thoughtfully on the little details of my life. I noticed, but it no longer unsettled me. Instead, I welcomed her attention, understanding that it came from love and longing for connection, not something inappropriate. Night after night, our home felt alive in a way it hadn't for years. Sophie's presence reminded me of the joys of family, of the deep, unshakable bond between parent and child. It was no longer just about the routines or the quiet. It was about the shared moments of care, empathy, and understanding that built the kind of closeness we had longed for in the wake of loss. Over time, the unease I initially felt transformed into comfort. I realized that intimacy in a family context wasn't just physical. It was emotional, it was shared vulnerability, it was trust. We could be close without crossing boundaries, connected without confusion, strengthened by honesty and openness. By the time Sophie returned to her dorm each morning, the house felt warm and alive with her energy. I felt renewed, ready to face my own days with a sense of purpose and belonging. The fear and confusion from that first night had dissipated, replaced by a deeper understanding. That closeness, care, and attention could heal old wounds and create new, meaningful connections. Life, I realized, had a way of surprising you, not with sudden drama or danger, but with quiet revelations and renewed bonds. One small moment of trust, one gesture of openness could shift everything, reminding us that love and family endure, even after years of solitude. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss stories that inspire courage, connection, and growth. Join our community in the comments. Tell us about a moment when someone unexpectedly changed your world, or share how you've rebuilt trust in your own life.